know if you got a girl. Don't mean no disrespect, but thoughts of you rule my world.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you how I make a frontal wig. So I'm starting off with this True Lights Rapid Blue powder bleach, and I've also got some 30% volume peroxide. So I'm just here mixing it all up together. So I'm mixing it into a thick paste. You want the bleach to be pretty thick so it doesn't seep through the lace and ending up bleaching all of the hair blonde, but you do want it to still be thin enough that it will actually bleach the knots, because I've many times tried to bleach the knots, seen that it's bleached on the underside, but once I look through on the actual scalp part, the hair hasn't bleached. So you just want to make sure that you're not pressing too hard, but enough that it actually bleaches. After 20 minutes, I rinse off the bleach, so I'm just making sure that I'm rinsing off as much as I can. Then anything that's left over, I make sure to use shampoo to make sure that I stop the bleaching process. I also shampoo the knots with some purple shampoo just to tone it a little bit so that my knots don't look too orange. Off of camera, I also dyed the hair jet black. So the frontal actually came pre-plucked, so I didn't have to do too much work. But how I customize my frontals is I just get a spray bottle, spray a bit of water because it's easier to see the hairline when the hairline is wet, and I just separated out the baby hairs so I didn't over pluck that because we don't want bald spots on your frontal. And then section by section I just kind of pluck skip. I don't know really how to explain it, but I kind of like pluck in one area, then skip the next area, and then pluck in the next area, so you get that nice gradient and it looks like a hairline. So once done, I try on my wig cap that I'm going to be using to make the wig, and I put the frontal on my head, and so you see me here holding a white pencil. So what I do is I create markings whilst the frontal is on my head so that I can match these up so that the wig fits perfectly. So that is kind of difficult to film, so I did it off of camera, but as you can see here, after I've tried it on, you can see the markings on both the wig cap and on the frontal, and they line up perfectly. And when I tried on the wig, even without an elastic band, the wig fit really well. So I always start off when I'm sewing my frontals, my closures or my tracks down with a triple knot, just to make sure that it's really secured so it's not going to move anywhere. And how I sew is I kind of just pull the needle through the wig cap and then through the edge of the frontal, and then I pull my needle through the loop so it creates a knot, so then it's really secure. So when I sew my first track, I make sure that I'm sewing from one side of the frontal to the other side, and I'm pulling my needle through that edge of the frontal just to make sure that everything is secured together. And then I'm sewing in exactly the same way that I sewed the frontal down. And then at the end, I actually just fold it over. When the tracks are at the back, you don't really need to cut them. So here I'm on my second bundle, so I'm just continuing to sew, but when I get to the end here, I'm actually going to start cutting my tracks, because at this point, if I was to fold over, it would probably create a lot more volume than I would actually want and would make it difficult for my wig to stay flat. So here I'm nearly done with the wig, so I'm just getting the last piece of my track, and then I'm making sure that the track and the edge of the frontal are really close together so that there's no gaps and you can't see that piece at the back of the frontal once everything is sewn together. So you can see that I'm pulling my needle through that edge, making sure that everything is super close together. I'm also making sure that I begin with a triple knot just so that it's secure and it doesn't become loose when like the wig becomes older. after I've done that, I just lift it up, and any hair that I've got left, I just make sure to fill in that space. So this is what I'm doing there, and basically the wig is finished at this point. So because I've dyed this hair and I've washed it, the hair was pretty tangled once I'd finished sewing everything together. So I'm just detangling the hair with a paddle brush, and then I'm going to put in some heat protectant because I'm going to be blow drying the hair out just so that it's not as frizzy and tangled. When I was blow drying the hair, I did actually only blow dry out the bundles, not the frontal as well. And the reason for doing that is because after I cut out the piece of wig cap that was underneath the frontal, I did turn the wig inside out so that I could sew on my elastic band. And if I had like blow dried out the hair, it kind of would have been a waste of time. So I just blow dried out the bundles, and I later blow dried the frontal off of camera. So for all of my wigs, the elastic band that I use actually comes from the original piece of wig cap that is underneath the frontals. So what I do is I just cut off the excess piece of wig cap, and I'm just left with the elastic band, and then I sew on the elastic band just next to where the wig cap is. And this point here should be where, if you've measured everything properly, it should be just behind your ear. So I'm just sewing this down. I'm using double thread at this point, and I'm going over multiple times because a lot of tension happens on this part of your wig. So you want to make sure that it's secure and it can handle everything. And then off of camera, I did go and cut it to size so that it would be tight enough on my head that it would fit properly. So once all of that was done, I just separated my hair. Because this hair is 22 inches and it's pretty thick, I just like to separate the hair in half, and I'm here straightening the hair. So I use a fine tooth comb just to separate all the strands so I can get the hair really nice and straight. So once I'm done with that, I get some Got To Be hairspray, and I just spray this along the hairline so that I can smooth the hairline back properly. So the wig is finished now. I finished constructing it. Make sure that you look out for my next video where I'm actually laying the wig down, melting the lace, styling it, everything like that. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.